So you're buying a house in the state of Florida, could be new construction, could be a resale, and your real estate agent has suggested getting a home inspection. Do you know what that is? Well, I'm here to talk to you about it today. I get the question all the time. Do we have to have a home inspection? What is a home inspection? Who does the home inspection? Hey, so let's talk about that and how important these are, especially in the state of Florida. Hey, my name is John Bice. I'm with eXp Real Estate and the Florida for Boomers Network here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Venice Parish area, which is Manatee in Sarasota County. We put out videos once or twice a week about things you need to know about if you're buying or selling property here in the state of Florida. We try to put out this information so you'll understand the process to go through, the ins and outs, what's important for you to know as a consumer. So if you're finding us here on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll get a notification when we put these videos out. It's all free information, and it's here for you to help you when you're investing in real estate in the state of Florida. So what exactly is a home inspection? So it's a licensed profession here in the state of Florida. Probably about 5 years ago, I'm going to say, maybe longer, they became a licensed profession. So these people will come in and examine everything in the home. Now, I will tell you, back in the crazy times, 2022, people were saying, I'm going to waive the home inspection. I'm not going to do one. I'll do it myself. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Now, if you are a licensed contractor and you can do a home inspection yourself, more power to you. But otherwise, are you going to be able to get up and examine the roof? Are you going to get into the attic? Are you going to be able to tell if there's ever been any rodent activity in the house? The electrical system, is everything up to code if it's an older home? The plumbing system, air conditioning, pool, all of that. So that's what a home inspector does. They literally open every window to make sure it's working properly. They're going to open and close every door, the garage door, make sure that's functioning properly. They're going to test all the electrical outlets. They're going to look at the electrical system, everything to do with the home. Now, most home inspectors are not licensed air conditioning people. They're not licensed pool people. They're not licensed termite inspectors. Some are, very few, but some are. And those are all things you're going to want to make sure that your home inspector is going to have done. If it's a pool home, do you want somebody to come out, a licensed pool person to come out and examine all the equipment, make sure everything's functioning properly, especially if there's a pool heater, solar heater system, whatever it is, you want to have that inspected, termite inspection. So all of those things are so very important to do. So that's what a home inspection is. That's what a home inspector does. Are they required? Absolutely not. They're not required. The cost in general, depending on the size of the home, of course, it's about $450. It's a 3 hour, 2.5 to 3 hour process. But again, that home inspector is going to look on your roof, tile or shingle roof, to see if there's any damage up there, especially a tile roof, because you don't really notice if there's a cracked tile or maybe a tile that has kind of slid out of place. We've just had a very active storm season, have some shingles blown off the roof that you can't see in an area not visible just to standing in front or on the side of the house. So those are all things that are very, very important. So are they required? They are not. But I never, ever, ever tell somebody not to get a home inspection. Even if they're a licensed contractor, I recommend a fresh set of eyes to go through the house, to look at the house, to make sure that everything is up to the current codes and what needs to be done to have that home inspected and made right. Okay, so who performs it. I just talked about it. Now, if you're working with us or another real estate agent, it should give you at least a couple of, well, I like to give 3 names out of home inspectors that I've used in the past. That way you can call them, kind of talk to them, um, interview them, ask them questions. Are you going to have a termite inspection done? Do you do it, or do you have somebody else come in? Is that an additional cost? How about the air conditioning system? Is that an additional cost? All of those things. So interview them and see who you get a good vibe with, and also ask their cost. What are they? What are your costs, and how much is involved in doing that? And availability, because on your contract to purchase that house, there's an inspection period. Some are 10 days, some are 12, some are 15 days. Some of these people right now, with all the work there is out there, they're booked out a couple, 2, 3, maybe a month. So you want to make sure that one of the inspectors is available to get out there in a timely manner for you during this inspection period. So while I'm talking about it, can you do inspections on new construction? I'm going to say absolutely. Yes, you can. I haven't had a builder say no. I'm sure there's builders out there that will say no, but I highly recommend that the builder is going to have you do a walkthrough of the house and then a final walkthrough. So before you do that walkthrough, you can have a home inspector come through and look at the home. Again, go over everything for you. Again, are all the doors functioning properly? I've seen doors where you open the door and it closes halfway. And just they're not hung right. There's windows that aren't in properly, plumbing issues. So you want to have that professional set of eyes come in and look at the home for you. So a lot of what the home inspectors will have to do on new construction is they'll get in touch with the construction superintendent. Tell them, hey, I'm coming out to do an inspection for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Here's my license number. This is when I'm going to do it. Can you make sure the house is open so I can do the inspection? Again, I haven't had one home builder say no to them. They're fine with that. But I highly recommend that with new construction as well. You're 100% under warranty, but why go through the hassle of finding these things afterwards? And once you've gone through all the closing and everything, then you're working with the warranty department as opposed to the superintendent for construction. 2 different things. So yes, you can. Who's responsible for the cost of it? Yes, it's for the buyer. So the buyer is paying for this inspector. Absolutely. Who's responsible for the repairs? Well, that's on the seller. Once you find those repairs that needs to be done, that's probably a whole different video. But in a nutshell, what happens is if it's not a as is contract, you're going to say, here are the issues. You're going to give these in writing to the seller. These are the issues that the home inspector found. These are the things that we would like to have addressed. Now, sometimes there's a dollar amount on the contract. The seller has said, I'll do up to $1,000 worth of repairs for structural mechanical repairs. This is not taking the nails out of the wall where pictures were hanging and repairing that. Okay. It is structural mechanical issues with the home, not cosmetic things. So you have to be very aware of that. So talk to your real estate agent about what cosmetic is, what structural mechanical means. So you provide this list, then the seller will get repair estimates. Let's say you had that $2,000 limit on it, and the repairs come back at $2,500. So it's kind of a new negotiation at that point. Are you as the seller going to say, well, you do the first 2,000, I'll do the 500? Or you, as the buyer, you say, nope, I want you to do all $2,500 worth of repairs. So it's a new negotiation there, basically. for who's going to cover the cost of that. The majority of the time, it falls under the limit for the negotiated amount of repairs. Now, I'm not going to say that's all the time. There's a lot of times where things pop up that are more costly. So, again, it's going to be another negotiation there. If there are repairs that can't be done before the closing date, there's ways to work around that. There's concessions that can be made. Let's say there's a $5,000 repair that needs to be done, and it can't. All the roofers are so busy right now. It's something with the roof, and it can't get done before closing. Then often the seller can say, "Okay, I can't get them there. We have this estimate from this company to get it done. It's $5,000. We'll give you a concession at closing. So after closing, sorry, you can have it done yourself." That's an option. Okay. I like to see the repairs done prior to closing. So that way you can have your home inspector come back in, take a look at it. They say, yep, everything was done, as it should be done. And we're happy with it. Okay. So can a buyer attend an inspection? Absolutely. Yes, you should be there. Now, what I do recommend, these inspections, again, depending on the size of the home, the age of the home, condition of the home, usually take a couple of hours. Now, you are allowed to, your real estate, if you're planning on being there, your real estate agent should be too. You're not just going to be able to freely roam the home by yourself. I'm sure there's people who allow people to do that when the home inspector's there. I highly recommend that doesn't happen for buyers, both buyers and sellers. If there's a slip and fall, those type of things. So yes, you can be there. Usually what I recommend for my buyers is, maybe if it's going to be a 2-hour inspection, you show up for the last 30 to 45 minutes. That way, when the home inspector is finished, you can go over the list with that home inspector of the things that they've pointed out that may need attention. The absolute worst thing you can do with a home inspector is walk around behind them and go, "Hey, what's this? What does this do? What did that button do? How do we do this?" It'll take them forever. They'll pull out their hair. They'll be going crazy. And they typically have a exact number of things that they do. They go through the house in an exact order to make sure that they've covered everything. So if you're interrupting them and saying, "Hey, what's this switch do?" they may get sidetracked and forget to do something. So again, you can be there the whole time, take measurements and do those type of things, but I recommend maybe the last 45 minutes of the inspection you come. Your agent should be there with you and do the things you want to do. If you want to measure for couches and things like that, and then get the list from the inspector at that point. We've already talked about how long it can take. In a condominium, maybe an hour, because they're going to basically go through and make sure the appliances work, make sure the electrical outlets are working, the air conditioning system is working. And it depends on who is responsible for windows and exterior and things like that in a condo, but usually doesn't take as long. You get some of these larger houses in these areas, 5,000 square feet, home inspector might be there for 4 or 5 hours. You never know. Average size house in this area, 1,800 to 2,000 square feet, they can be done in less than 3 hours. Probably that's a max. So, and again, depending on the age of the home and the condition. What are some of the common issues found during home inspections? I've seen a little bit of everything. I've seen windows that do not function properly, windows that are supposed to go up and down, and the mechanism that's in the window that holds the window up doesn't work anymore. So you put the window up and boom, it slams down. I've already mentioned doors that weren't installed properly. You could see something, like I said, about the roof where a shingle or a tile has gotten out of place, and that's an issue. You want to make sure that is right. Older homes, I've seen where the electrical panel has to be replaced. And there's different levels of that where I've seen where the panel had to be replaced, and I've seen where the panel and all the wiring for the electrical system had to be replaced. I've seen that. And if you're getting into replacing all the wiring and everything, we're talking twelve to maybe $15,000 worth of repairs. The electrical panel, again, not an electrician, don't want to give you, that could be $2,500 to replace the electrical panel if it's older, out of date. Sometimes they're recalled, they're not properly, up to code, so they've been recalled. So those are some of the things that you could see. Again, pool equipment, is it functioning properly? They test the heater and the air conditioner. Yes, we have heaters in Florida. So they're going to make sure that both are working properly. All the appliances are working properly. So those are some of the things you'll come across. What does it mean if a home is listed as is? You've done an as is contract on it. Can you ask for repairs? Yes, you can. So I always recommend, if I'm working with a buyer now, if it's something pretty serious, obviously you're going to ask for some repairs, even on an as is contract. On when I'm representing sellers, sometimes people are coming back and, as I call it, nickel and diming people, cosmetic repairs, these type of things. So that's typically not what it's about. Again, nail holes in a wall where they had a bunch of family photos hanging, that's a cosmetic issue. That's not structural, mechanical. Windows don't work right. Yes. Pool equipment doesn't work right. And I always give the example when I'm working with a seller on an as-is contract. Let's just say you have a couple shingles out of place on your roof that you weren't aware of, and there's a very small leak up there. You weren't aware of it. So the buyer comes back and says, "I would like you to repair this. It is estimated that it's going to cost $2,500 to repair." Now, the seller has options. The seller can say, "This is an as-is contract. Forget it. I'm not doing any repairs." They can go ahead and make the repairs. But if you say, "Nope, I'm not doing it," and the buyer is in their inspection period on an as-is contract, they can cancel the contract if you say, "Nope, I'm not doing the repairs." So what happens there? Then the house goes back on the market. It's probably been off the market, 7 to 10 days during the inspection period. It comes back on the market. The seller ends up doing the repairs anyway, and then changing their disclosures about it. "Hey, we had a leak in the roof and we had it repaired." Ding, 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 ding. What happens with new buyers? Leak in the roof. What happened? Oh my gosh, is there mold in the house? So I always highly recommend that my sellers, it's 2,500. Go ahead and get it done. You have a buyer that said, "Hey, I love your house. I'd like to buy it. I want you to, replace those shingles up there and get those repairs done." Okay, so that's it on. There's 1,000 more things I could talk to you about on home inspections, but that's kind of the beginning part of it. I'm always available to answer questions for you. If you're getting this on YouTube, if you're getting it via email, you can call me. My number's below. My email address is below. There's a link for Calendly below. You can schedule a call, Zoom call, or an in-person meeting with me using that. It takes you right into my personal calendar and tells you when I'm available every day of the week. And I'm happy to answer questions for you about this stuff. Okay. I hope this has been helpful. Always recommend a home inspection. I still have people saying, "Nope, I'm going to do it myself." There's a form that we have them fill out that releases us from liability that says the buyer determined, that they're going to do their own home inspection. Please sign here. Okay. So, just to cover everybody there. But if there's questions I can answer for you about it, happy to do so. And feel free to reach out to me via text message, email, or a phone call. Happy to talk to you about it, especially if buying or selling. I recommend
a lot of times for sellers to have a home inspection come in, a home inspector come in and look at their home before it goes on the market in an older home, because you can address all the issues that are there that you may not be aware of. Now, will the buyer take your home inspection? Absolutely not. They're not going to trust the person that you hired to inspect your home, but you're getting ahead of the game. You're making sure that these things are taken care of before you hit the market. Okay. So, again, call me, text me, email me. I'm here for you. Hope this has been helpful. I look forward to hearing from you and hopefully helping you sell your home or helping you find a home here in the greater Sarasota area. Thanks so much. God bless. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye bye.